Hello, my name is Ramona McKee with quick2stitch.com.
I'm Reagan Dickinson with Graphics Pro.
This is Charlie Calvary. You're listening to Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wow.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, July 18th, 2025. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery from our Success Group and also over at American Print and Supply. And this week, Terry, we've got somebody new joining us, new to the podcast, but you've actually got to meet him before I did. And then I got to meet him out at the DAX Nashville show this year. And Anthony Schmitt is going to be talking to us about kind of his journey and how he went from firefighter into the screen printing world. And yeah, he's got a great story and has really kind of hustled, I guess, in a simple term, you know, not obviously not simple for him, but for us to look and watch. And he's created this amazing business and we want to find out how. So we're excited to talk to him here today, Terry.
Yeah, it's the term side hustle is named after a guy like Anthony for hustling, like you said.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Make sure you stay till the very end. Aaron's going to be bringing us the secret sauce. He's going to be letting us in on a secret, the silent killer of sales.
Yeah, it's a secret. So just wait a second. It's something that I ran across, and I think a lot of times, Terry, we have these situations where we do things and we don't realize kind of the bigger picture of it, right? And so here's just a few things that I think we can do to kind of increase our sales a little bit. So hopefully people will get something out of that and stay to the very end and learn all about that. So,
all right.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we have a great show planned for you, as we talked about. And we also have one of our favorite people here joining us. We've got Cassie Green from The Apparelist bringing the news. So are you ready for that, Terry?
I'm ready. Let's hear the news.
Well, hi, everybody, and happy Friday to all of you. Yes, got some great headlines for you today, so let's get into it. First headline I have, Spectrum Designs raises $150K and embarks on franchise journey. So this news article is actually a little bit different than what I typically share. It's actually a video interview. So in the exclusive interview with Apparelist, Patrick Bardsley, who is the co-founder and CEO of Spectrum Designs, discusses the success the Spectrum Designs Foundation had recently at a fundraiser. So throughout the video, you can discover the mission behind Spectrum Designs, who seeks to create meaningful employment opportunities in a neurodiverse world. Patrick also talks about their recently held Color the Night themed fundraiser that raised $150,000. Plus, he shares some exciting news about their upcoming franchise model aimed at expanding their impactful network nationwide. So really exciting there. Second headline for everybody, Print Profit launches software platform for profitability. Print Profit announces it is stepping in as a software platform purpose-built for profitability for this industry specifically. The mission to modernize how printing companies around the globe build sustainable businesses. Print Profit reports in a press statement that it's becoming a platform for leaders seeking financial clarity and profitable growth. Since launching in early 2025, Print Profit has processed over 1 million jobs, been adopted by over 25 printing companies across the US and Europe, and has gained over 100 active users. Finally, sharing with all of you regulators today, Martin Borley named CEO of Groupstall EMEA region. So Groupstall announced the promotion of Borley to the role of CEO Stalls EMEA, and that went into effect on July 1st. With over 35 years of dedicated service to Stalls affiliated and owned companies, Borley is a seasoned and trusted leader in the apparel decoration industry, according to a press release shared by Stalls. He most recently served as Executive Managing Director for Stalls UK and Europe, where he spearheaded growth, operational efficiencies, and customer-focused innovation. In his new role, Borley will Borley will report directly to Carlene Gray, CEO of Group Stall Inc., and will lead all initiatives across the EMEA region in support of the overall vision directed by Group Stall. So thanks for letting me fumble through the news this morning, regulators. I hope you all have a great day and a great weekend.
I love it. Thank you, Cassie. Appreciate you sharing the news. And fumbling or not, you always do an amazing job. So thank you, Cassie.
That's usually my thing, but Cassie can borrow it.
That's right. Yeah, Cassie. And you're just because you're on the Two Regular Guys doesn't mean you have to emulate us and the fumbling.
Aaron Patrick over at Spectrum Design is a good friend of the show and good friend of ours. So doing great things over there at Spectrum Design. We certainly appreciate everything he does.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good stuff. And we definitely need to get him back on the show here. And I can't wait to see everybody out at Printing United. It's much sooner than we think. So
around the corner.
Exactly.
I did have an epiphany when she said Print Profit, that I was thinking about changing my name from Regular Guy to Print Profit, but spelled more biblically. The Print Profit, get it?
The Prophet. All right. PH. Okay. Very good. Yes. I think just change your name on the screen there, Terry, and it'll be all set. So that's all you need to do.
I'll do it.
Yeah. So Terry, anybody's tuned in live right now, we'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to have you in part of this conversation here today. We had Chuck checking in right away this morning saying good morning. And so if you are tuned in live, take a quick moment here and go and share this with your decorator friends. And this is going to be a fantastic episode where we just get to take gold nuggets, right? One thing I always say, Terry, in situations like this is like Anthony's Anthony and he's unique. So you can't go and be like, this is a prescription and I'm just going to do everything he did. Right. But I can go, Anthony's got some amazing ideas. Let me use that for inspiration and see how that fits me. So let's get some more people in here. Let's get some more inspiration, some more perspective, and have a great conversation today, Terry.
Absolutely. But before we do that, Aaron, you have prepared a dad joke for us.
I'm trying to remember where I found, because at this point in my life, people are sending me dad jokes, and I can't remember where this one came from. I think this would just happen to be, I was scrolling Facebook, and I found my favorite guilty pleasure right now is watching dads on a dock telling dad jokes. It's I think it'll be that. Every feed. It'll be everything in your feed will be full of it. But anyhow, I'm ready when you are, Terry.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, Terry, I don't know if you heard this kind of bad news. A friend of mine recently, he got kidnapped by a group of mimes.
Oh no, what happened?
Yeah, they did unspeakable things to him.
That's pretty good.
Do we need to explain it? No, we don't. It's so good. We don't need to explain this one.
There's a I don't remember his name now, but there's a guy on Instagram that's a mime, and it's like it's SeaWorld or something.
Oh yeah, kind of a heavier set guy.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yes, true. Now people are like dressing like him and stuff like that. I've seen some of that too. Yeah, funny. All right. Well, Terry, how about a little housekeeping?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices still. We would love to have the regulators participate in the show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, and be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests like today. If you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast. Wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there, and we would love a review. If you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions.
Absolutely. All right, Terry. Well, let's get Anthony in here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So,
Yeah, me
Eric,
too.
there we go. Anthony, welcome
Hey.
in. Thank you so much
Good
for being
morning.
here. Good morning.
Thanks so much for having me. This is a full circle moment in a lot of ways, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when we got to chat at Dax Nashville, you were telling me all about it. I'm like, yeah, we have to do this. And he's got his screen printing equipment in the background. I mean, we are
Love it.
This is perfect in every way. So if you're a podcast listener right now, you do got to pop in here and check out Anthony's setup behind him there. He's ready to go. But
It's a little messy, but it is a production floor. I told a lot of the guys, I was like, I'll be on this podcast and just come in afterwards. That way there's not a lot going on in the background. So
No yelling profanities.
It does happen on the screen print shop floor.
It does indeed.
All right. Well, Anthony, before we kind of dig into where you're at right now, we'd
Sure.
love to kind of get the full circle moment here, right? Give us the whole story. What made you kind of get to a point where you firefighter first and foremost, and then maybe casual creator is my guess, and then full-on garment decorator. So give us the whole story if you don't mind.
Sure.
And Anthony, take your time. Don't leave out any detail, okay?
Yeah, I can be pretty long-winded, so just roll me in at any
Let's
time. So I guess a little bit of a background. I had a lot of odd jobs. I used to work in a gym, and I was like, hey, we should design some shirts and merch like that. And whenever I was going to community college, I actually got a graphic design degree, and never put it to use. It was difficult for me to find a job making any money or anything like that. And so life kind of took me a different direction, and I started firefighting, and that's a whole lot of training, and that's kind of a different rabbit hole to go down. But around the same time, we were having kids. So my wife was on Etsy. She was buying stuff all the time, and it's like $30 for a onesie. Like, how are people making onesies? And this was before DTF was real prevalent. Everyone was doing heat transfer vinyl and that type of thing. And it's like, well, I guess that's how you make shirts. So let's just go out. And I think we went to Walmart and bought a Silhouette Cameo and started weeding all the vinyl and, that good stuff. And I'll never go back to that, but I guess it makes you appreciate, what you have now. So we had someone reach out to us that was like, hey, we need 50 hoodies. We have the hoodies already. And the person that was supposed to make them, they just dropped the ball. There's a parade tomorrow. Can you get these done? And my wife, shout out to Megan, she's like, yeah, let's, just say yes, and let's figure it out. And so it was 3 colors on the front and back of heat transfer vinyl on 50 of these hoodies.
Oh, boy.
But we charged a premium for it. And so after that, I think we started it was like 7:00 at night, and we got done at 3 a.m, just dog tired. And but we made a decent amount of money. And so I got to researching, fell into YouTube, and it's like, oh, well, this screen printing stuff exists. Like, that makes a lot more sense than how we approached that. And we started with just a small tabletop Ryonet, kit, and it took me a week to learn how to burn a screen. It was, I would code it, and I was like, I'm just not doing something right. And there's a couple times throughout this story where I get very close to just throwing in the towel, but, kind of come back and get a little bit going. And somehow I stumbled across Atlas Screen Supply, and then I saw it's like, hey, here's a workshop, a guy that's been in the industry, and he can just teach you from A to Z how to do it. And it's like, oh, well, how much is this? And it's like, that's a no-brainer if this is even halfway true. And so I went down. I think that was in around 2018. I drove down to Nashville and just sat through the 2-day class with Terry. And what I love so much about that is he wasn't pushing any particular product. It was just an overview about, hey, you don't have to have this name brand press or that. That's what you see so much of on YouTube right now is, just different shills for different, things and pushing different product. And it's like, that's really how they're generating the revenue. But with Terry, it's like, look, I'm just an equal opportunist. This is how you do it. Kind of learn, for me, this is what worked for me whenever I was running larger shops, and I'm sitting there, and I think at this point, I've made maybe $1,000 screen printing whenever I sit in that class, and so I'm like, man, there's people making that kind of money printing shirts. Like there's just no way, and like I said to Aaron, kind of off record, I was like, that's what's so mind blowing to me, because now I want to be an inspiration to maybe someone listening to this that has a manual press where it's like, hey, this guy, like I said, I started with $300 Silhouette Cameo, and it's like, if you're willing to kind of put in the time and effort and just market yourself in different ways and just be honest, I think, with people, good things can happen. So that's a brief overview of how I fell into it, and
Wow,
we're just trucking
really
along.
Anthony, that's so good. I took a couple of things out of that. First and foremost, Terry's really old. He's been doing this for a long, long time. That's what I heard. No, I'm just kidding. we have to tease and joke. We love each other, and that's what we do. But no, in all seriousness, though, I love the part that you shared about, at that moment, right, where you had that hoodie opportunity. And yeah, we don't want to get to that point where we're just saying yes to everything. But sometimes there's this like, I got a gut, I don't know, but we can figure it out. And the fact that you were willing to just say yes, right? And shout out to your wife, like you said, to support that and say, let's do this. Even when you don't know, I think a lot of times, a lot of people do get in that place, like you said, where you're kind of about ready to throw in the towel, and opportunity staring you in the face, and you're got paralysis, and you just need to take some action. So
and kind of bringing it to, I'm still like that in a lot of ways. And they say early on you grow by saying yes, and then eventually you grow by saying no. And that's a lesson that will have to be beaten into me, because here recently there's it's a place that he's like a machinist. And so he does all this stuff for museums and builds weapon systems and all these elaborate things. I knew nothing about it. We had an email that said, hey, I need shirts. This was on a Tuesday. It's like, we're going to an expo. I need 5 shirts, one color, front and back. Here's our logo. And, that's something where usually our turnaround time's 2 weeks. And I look at this and I'm like, well, I mean, it is pretty cool. A neat logo, and it had their website on it. We agreed to it and got it done. And then next thing I know, the guy's reaching out again. Hey, we loved our merchandise. We just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and we got commissioned by this museum to build a replica of the atomic bomb. Wow. And will you print all these shirts? And so here's the problem. I said, yeah, let's do it. That sounds awesome. Well, it ends up where it's a 6-color front, 6-color back, and 4 colors on both sleeves. And it's like, holy cow. So that's what we're kind of in the middle of. At times I want to pull my hair out, but again, it's like, hey, if we can just get through this, and then who knows what that may lead to, or maybe this will be the realization of like, okay, hey, maybe we just start doing 1 and 2 color jobs and forget all this crazy stuff.
But you don't know until you try, right? And so now you're learning in that, and I love that. And just before we kind of move any further forward, Anthony, I wasn't real sure, are you still firefighter, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. So I actually just got off at 7 a.m. this morning. So if I'm kind of feeling, depleted, that's why. But the shift, it's flexible. So for instance, I went in at 7 a.m. Yesterday, and so it's a 24-hour shift, and I got off at 7 this morning, and I don't go in again until Sunday. So it's a 24-hour and then 48 hours off. So if you were to average that out, it's like a 72-hour work week, 72 hours, and then the third week is 48 hours. So pretty much firefighting 56 hours a week on average, and then the rest is just juggling family time and the business. And
absolutely. Okay. All right. That helps me a lot more. We want to make sure we're not making assumptions here. So
No, and it is a lot of people ask because shout out to volunteer firefighters. I'm not a volunteer. I get paid to do it. I don't know that I could do it for free, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is a lot of effort. So shout out to anybody that is willing to volunteer their time and stuff to do that. I'm paid, so it is a career. And then, like I said, had an opportunity here, Murray, Kentucky. If anyone's a fan of NBA basketball, it's where Ja Morant went to college and played ball. That's where I'm located. So it's a town of about 19,000 people, not very large by any means, but the other people printing shirts were kind of stuck in Terry's old ways, right? And so had to kind of step into the new age. We did some online stores and things like that, and trying to merge the gap. But that's some of the stuff where just finding a happy medium. So I think there's a lot of guys, and like I said, I'm not an expert by any means. This is just what's worked for me in kind of a small town, Kentucky. But I would say set up a business line first of all, because early on I just had midnight asking about an order, and my phone's going off, and woman is texting you, whoa, hey, we gotta figure it. And so got that set up, but I wouldn't go as far as a lot of people get these VAs and things of that nature. It's like we have that thing where they can leave a voicemail, and it's like if I'm not able to answer, or David or Jake push to where they can leave a voicemail, press site. I think that everything's so automated that they like to talk to a real person. That's helped us grow. And like I said earlier, is just being, and we offer banners and yard signs and things like that. I don't print those in house. I can take care of you on this front, but just full disclosure, this is what we have going on. We work with different vendors, and people think I'm crazy for doing that. But here's the thing. It's like we had a customer reach out last week that would take care of, the banners are next day aired to us. They needed a banner at 9 a.m. in the morning, and they reached out at, 7 p.m. and they're like, we don't care what it costs. Get it done for us. You have the printing equipment. And it's like, no, we don't. Remember us telling you that we use a vendor. And so it avoids those. Just helps gain trust, because other people they're in business. They understand the ins and outs and making money, and you can't treat people like they're stupid, and so I feel like that's helped us grow it tremendously. And kind of piggybacking off that thought too is don't fear competition. So one of the things that helped me grow here, probably with several companies that offer signs and banners and basically like trade show products here. And we had them reach out before about embroidery. And while I was talking to them, I was like, hey, do you all have customers that come in needing shirts? And they're like, oh, yeah, quite a bit. And we never know. We send them to a place online. And it's like, well, hey, you offer shirts now. And they're like, what do you mean? And it's like, we'll be your silent partner, if we ever need something or we get in a bind, and vice versa. And so, I mean, that's been great. And so basically, I remember in school, you had Hot Topic, right, which is like the counterculture, and you had Gap. And so that's owned by the same major company. So it's like no matter if it was the culture or the counterculture, the same person is ultimately profiting. And so that's how I was approaching this, where it's like, well, hey, out of all these different places here that can offer shirts, I'm one of the only ones with this level of a press. And it's like, so it doesn't matter if so-and-so down the road is getting the shirts here. Ultimately, if we're able to benefit, then, let's do that. So, like I said, you kind of have to put pride aside at times, because, you'll see stuff on Facebook where it's like, oh, they did such a good job on our shirts, but it's like, deep down, we know where they came from. But again, we're a silent partner.
Yeah, absolutely. Terry, looks like you're on mute there. Oh, you're not on mute. Okay. All right. Well, we'll let Terry get that sorted. Okay. He may have to pop. Yeah, whatever. All right. Well, I'm going to ask Terry's question for him because, like, one of the reasons why I asked, like, make sure you're still a firefighter, right? Like, and we go back to that point. there's obviously, you said you've got 56 hours of firefighting, family, then the business. How do you juggle that? Right. What's your advice for people to kind of stay focused and be able to make progress in their business, but not get into burnout, not sacrifice all their family time,
I'm not perfect at this by any means,
Sure.
but I'm not sure if you're familiar with Andy Frisella. He's a podcast guru and kind of like a business coach type
Okay,
realm,
I'm not, but I'll
motivational
check that
speaker.
out. Yeah.
But so one of his things is people talk about a work-life balance. Well, that doesn't have to be like within a 24-hour period or even a week period or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like right now with this order, we've been working extremely hard trying to get through it
Sure.
and everything else. But it's like next week we're actually going on a vacation to Disney. So it's like right now it's like I'm in full work mode,
Yeah.
for days on end almost, stopping in, going to, the kids' sporting events and things like that.
Yeah.
But then, hey, this chunk of time, I'm devoted to this, and something that I've got better about is just delegating and like learning to trust, the employees that I have. So,
Gotcha.
David's been with me about 2 years. I couldn't go back to having no one helping between checking garments in or even like getting, things boxed back up, or making deliveries. That's an easy value add. Some of our larger customers, when they deal with a different vendor that's charging them a couple $100s to ship something, and if it's 5 minutes down the road, piece of cake. But definitely learning to delegate. And I'm trying to work really hard, right now while I'm younger. That way, maybe one day if someone, wants to acquire this thing or take it over, or maybe we can just grow this team to be, really strong and go from there. But it is a juggling act that I'm still trying to learn, and I'm very, very good at about doing something 90% of the way. So it's like, I get all these different ideas and try to implement them. And I think the hardest thing is just trying to get started. But
get them
early on. It's tough. It's like, this is your baby and you're passing it off to someone else, running the press and making sure that they're holding the same standards that you have, because if you're short on, one or two shirts, and it's like, hey, you guys, counted, make sure that everything's there, quality control, all that. And it's like, if they just say, yeah, and you ship the box out and the customer gets it and it's not up to standard, the word of mouth is what makes or breaks everything. And so it's like, that's the stuff that'll keep you up at night, and you can't, you just got to stand by your product and ultimately tell customers that, you'll take care of them, because no one can be perfect. We have our shortcomings, but that for me has been the hardest part, where it's like, hey, been working on this since 2018, 2019. And just one silly mistake of one of the college guys helping me out could really tarnish our reputation. But
absolutely,
I think people understand that and have grace. If
I agree. And there's probably that balance between, we got to make sure that we put the systems and things in place to try to, mitigate any of those potential silly mistakes, train them people enough, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like you said, people are willing to give us grace. You've been very transparent, so there's already built a lot of trust, and you just continue to be transparent. And here's what happened. Sorry, how can we make it right? Let's move forward.
Yep, and I think just keeping the lines of communication open, because like with this order, it just fell in our lap, and we have other customers. And so the university had reached out, and they have a deadline. It was a loose deadline, but it's like, hey, people always want to, hey, where's our shirts at? Any update, this and that. And it's like, hey, listen, this is what's going on. And they get it. They just want to know that you didn't forget about them, and you're kind of at the forethought. That's the Amazon age, unfortunately. So
yeah, for sure, understood. All right, well, Anthony, let's see. I think we got Terry back here, so if we get a second to grab him back. But next thing I wanted to talk about, kind of going back a little bit to what you said at the beginning when you were telling us about your story. You were kind of going, okay, I'm deep dive into YouTube here. I'm trying to figure it all out. Seems like there's a lot of shilling going on here. So what's really the truth? You stumbled upon Terry's class.
Yeah.
Like what, you said it sounds like a no-brainer. Well, what made that a no-brainer for you? Like what makes that kind of hands-on opportunity?
Sure. So going back to it taking a week to burn a screen, what they're not telling you, or they'll leave out little bits and pieces of information. They'll be pushing, hey, you need to buy this emulsion to get this to work. Oh, you know what? You need this LED exposure unit. Oh, you need this and this. And it just trying to filter through what's legitimate and what's not. But also, what Terry pointed out is they can't take into account your humidity levels, or if there's UV light in the environment and all those things that are so shop specific, where a YouTube video typically isn't covering information like that. And so rather than me filtering through all the fluff on YouTube, hey, paying Terry, sitting through there, and all the topics were relevant, everything from, the pricing structure. Hey, this is what's worked, something that, again, I'm hard headed, but I remember Terry saying, hey, some of the, he did work for Harley Davidson, if I'm not mistaken, and some, NCAA, things like that. And, he said, sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And that's where it's like, this guy's trying to tell me that, like, Harley Davidson may not be, it's like, hey, sign me up for that. But I get it. What we've been dealing with clients to where it's like, you do a print and hey, where are you located at? They'll drive out to the shop and they want to see it on press. Oh, this, let's change this to a different Pantone color. And it's like, hey man, no, that sounds easy, but listen, like, is there, I'll probably have to charge you a little bit just because we got to stop everything we're doing. Like, this is ready to go right now. And, but so that's the difficult part. And you're not going to hear that stuff on YouTube or it's going to be very, very difficult. So I think just, it was a 2-day course. You go in, they provide lunch, everything else. I don't know if you still do that or if you're still doing classes. And, the 2 days that you're there, and what's cool too, and I have it, I should have had it up here. Terry has you printing shirts. So we printed, a 5 or 6 color simulated process shirt. Well, that's in my portfolio now. So when people are seeing like, well, give me some examples of some work that you've done. Well, at the time, all I had really done is basic one color job front and back. And so to be able to showcase this and just have basically like how people perceive what you're doing. Like, well, if they can handle this, it was the eagle, with the lightning and fire, and it's like, well, that's really cool. So he can handle my order for sure. And it's just invaluable. And also from the perspective of Atlas, we still use Atlas all the time, and so they've been wonderful, and that's genius. I think that's a beautiful partnership that you all had doing that.
Yeah, and the first thing that Atlas says in the class, and I still do classes at Atlas in Chicago, they did close that Nashville location during COVID, and ended up not opening it back up again. But yeah, I just did class a couple of weeks ago back in Chicago. But the first thing they say is Terry doesn't work for us. So and they basically leave the room, and so I can say whatever I want to say. But all of us have speed bumps as we go along. So what are some of the biggest mistakes or missteps that have helped you turn your business into what it is today?
So this is going to sound, I guess, like a paradox, because I had the business line and those things, and I'm talking about the crazy hours that I work, but it's also setting those boundaries. So for instance, with the customer, with the Pantone color match, it's like, obviously we do mock-ups. We have that, it's a visual representation, all that tiny little disclosure information. If you don't have that, that's very, very important. We've had to eat, a job to where, the mock-up was made on a medium shirt and whatever, and they were griping about this. They said that it's too big. The graphic's too big on the front. We wanted it, like this. That was an early on mistake that I made.
Mm.
And like I said, you kind of live and die by word of mouth. And so I ate the cost of those shirts and redid them, basically just to prevent a smear campaign.
Yeah.
But it's like that could have just been, we could have fell back to, hey, this was the approval. You agreed to this, and we did it to your specifications. Going to this boundary thing, having a job set up on press and waiting for the customer to come out and approve it. And it's like, that's not how our workflow is. It's like, you approve the mock-up and things like that. And so, like I said, just having it, I'm not a big fan of big business like that, where there's all these different terms and conditions and agreements. I'm just like, hey, shake your hand and let's rock on with it. But I understand now why people have that, because it's like they wanted to change the Pantone and then they laid the shirt out. It was kind of a asymmetrical design, and then they're like, oh, we don't like how this looks on the back of the shirt. Our graphic designer is going to change this design, and then we'll have you print another one, tomorrow. And it's like, wait, hang on. We have all these stencils made that you already agreed to, to this. So just setting a clear line in the sand and setting realistic expectations up front. So in ways we've enabled bad behavior from customers. So someone reaches out on, like I said, a Tuesday, you turn that job around, they have it ready for an expo. Well, then, next go around, it's like, oh, hey, we can just send this to Anthony. This other company, it's going to take, a week. And then when you are busy, then they're like, well, what do you mean you can't get it done in 3 days? That's what happened last time. You got this press that can do hundreds of thousands of shirts or whatever. And it's like, well, everyone thinks that, they're the only customer that you're catering to.
Yep.
And, that's but I think some of that ambiguity on my end, I like where we have the perception of being small. I feel like around me there's so many of the soccer moms doing the direct to film things like that, and if they knew, I guess, the scale of our operation at times, that they wouldn't want to. They want to support super duper small, like how I was in the beginning with the Silhouette Cameo. And it's like, well, they see the press or the shop or all that guy has, people working for him. So his prices must just be outlandish if he can afford all that stuff. And so it's just a weird, it's a weird mentality. So early on, it's like I wanted to seem bigger than what we are. And then now it's almost like I'm having to kind of throttle back our success almost, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
They don't want the quote unquote, like, the rich to get richer or whatever. It's like people like the underdog story, and that's what we try to keep, against all odds mentality. So
I love it. Oh, it's so good. And I love what you shared about, just kind of, again, setting those expectations, setting those boundaries and stuff like that. I've always said to folks that, are dealing with what you've dealt with there with, kind of that quicker turnaround time. Well, have a policy that this is our time. And if you need it faster than that, this is how much it costs. And then in the story, you go, oh, you know what, though? I want to work with you. I want to help you out. I'm going to waive the rush fee this time.
So it's funny that you say that. So hang on just a second.
Yeah.
So this is one of my other key takeaways. I don't know if you all can see this or not. This is it's a quick reference sheet. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
So it's a quick reference sheet. There's a lot of psychology that kind of goes into this. So it's just what people do with online subscriptions, but we have it for, our pricing. And so when people do call and they're like, hey, Anthony, how much? We have this, 2-color on the front, 3-color on the back. If you can reply to an email or a phone call and quote them right then and there, you're going to land that job. There's so many people that take forever to get back with someone, and even if it's via email, I'll send that to a customer where they'll run different scenarios. Well, okay, it would be a lot cheaper to do this. And on that sheet, it does say, it's like, hey, here's the file formats that we like. And, if we have to do artwork, it's going to add this much to the turnaround time.
Yeah.
Our rush fee is this amount. So having all that stuff, and what I've learned is when you start a business, you're making the rules. You're making the rules to the game. So it's like, if you want it to be like, hey, we're going to take a month for all of our orders, that's just how it is. But and then you just pivot it to where it's like, do you want to go to hey, the food at this restaurant's so good, but they're booked up, but it's worth the wait. Or do you want to go to the fast food chain, down the road? So it's like, ultimately, and that's what's so hard to figure out early on. You're just trying to have a proof of concept of like, hey, is this going to work or is it not? And you just say yes to everything. And then a lot of times it's those customers that need stuff in a rush to where the things get hairy, or they have crazy expectations on like the quality or this or that. And for instance, if someone hits us right now with a crazy order, we're gonna say, well, right now, if you need it that quickly, our press is kind of tied up, but we could offer direct to film. But if they want the high quality screen print, it just wouldn't happen. And so it's kind of like, it's the old analogy of pick three, good, fast, or cheap. And it's one of those things where you want to think that you could be all three, but let me tell you, it won't happen.
It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I love it. All right. Well, let's take a quick breather here, real quick. Want to share some things with our listeners, real quick, about a program I've got coming up here, and we'll come back and we got plenty more to cover here. So, Eric, whenever you're ready. What if you could finally turn your ideas into a clear, doable plan? Whether you're just starting out or trying to get unstuck, clarity changes everything. The Business by Design program gives you the tools to take control of your direction, pricing, marketing, and time, all without the overwhelm. It starts with a 2-day masterclass to clarify your vision and structure. Then, if you're ready to build your plan live, join our implementation workshop where we write it together step by step. This isn't about writing some fancy plan that never gets used or something to turn into a bank. It's about building a path that fits your life and your goals and personal style so you can walk away with something you will actually use. Join the masterclass at oursuccessgroup.com/business plan, and let's build your plan together. Awesome. All right. Well, if you guys want to go check that out, if you have any questions, just let me know. But Anthony, we want to get back into this here. This has been so good. Like, Terry, I'm sure your junior yellow legal pad filled with notes.
I feel like I'm just rambling. I apologize.
Nuggets throughout this stuff, man. This is huge. Okay. This is awesome. So, but let's flip to the wins here a little bit. You talked about some of the hurdles, the speed bumps, as Terry called them. I love that. You've done some things that have moved the needle creatively in your outreach and stuff like that. Give us some of that inspiration. What's worked best for you, and why do you think that is?
Yeah. So obviously, like I said, I have kids, and all the time people will ask you, hey, you're a firefighter. A lot of firefighters have side jobs and things like that. What do you do? And it's like, oh, well, I print shirts. And they'll say, oh, hey, my cousin does that. And, you'll strike up a conversation, or, you can say, hey, what company do you work for? Do they ever need merchandise? And there's just a perception when you say that you do T-shirts of what that is. And one of the things with a higher end client, or I think that the juice would be worth the squeeze, is we have these business cards. So it's made out of stainless steel. I'm not shilling a product. I have no real affiliation with it. It's my metal business card if you want to check it out. Cool. But something like that, when you have a paper business card, people throw it away or whatever. And, some people tell me it's like, hey, we kept this just to be able to like break into a door or something like that, and it's like, hey, at least you didn't throw it away. But they look at that and it's like, wow, how you do anything is how you do everything. And it's like, that is a really high end card. So that, believe it or not, it's something really simple and natural anyway. That's probably it's more than paid for itself. That's how we've landed a lot of things with like the hospital or some car dealerships and things like that. So just having that professional appearance on things. And I think that, not to sound judgmental by any means, but it's like anyone that I have doing sales or deliveries for me, that's a big thing, is just outward appearance. It's like, I don't want you looking like you just rolled out of bed to go talk to who might be a large client. It's like, look,
Yeah.
make it look like we care what we're doing. So that's really simple. Piggybacking off this cards, there's the review cards where they have like the little scan chip built into it. So if we do make a delivery and, oh, hey, they open the box up, this looks so great, like, thanks so much, you've been awesome. And it's like, thank you. Hey, would you care to scan this? Leave us a review. That helps us more than money ever could, and that's gone a long way. We have a 4.9 star rating on Google right now. Someone left us a bad review that we didn't even like do anything with. But in ways, to me, if I'm looking and I see 4.9, I think that sounds more legitimate than 5.0, because nobody's perfect.
They're all fake, right?
and
This guy's just typing out reviews for himself.
yeah, exactly. Paying bots and all that. But the ugly testimonials is a big one too. And I may have touched on that, but everything isn't sunshine and rainbows. So if you do have a customer, a mechanic shop, oddly enough, that was like, man, you guys are kind of expensive, but you do great work, and I can't really complain. And it's like, hey, will you please, what you just told me, if you can send that out on Facebook or whatever, because if you're scrolling through, and everything's like, oh, everything's perfect, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, that's a paid ad, or they did some trade-off, but it's like, and that helps us out, and it helps frame our business in people's minds. So it's like, okay, well, Gladiator, they're not gonna be the cheapest. I've read that in the review, but it must be worth it, because this guy, he's a hardworking blue collar guy, and he spent his money here rather than going to somebody else. So those things have helped. And then getting into just the most obscure ways that I can think of, showcasing our work and advertising. So one of the guys that used to help me out, a good friend of mine named Ernie, he was into billboards. He used to install billboards, and he told me, he's like, hey, this might be something worth doing. We lack awareness locally, but when people, they stumble across us, via Google and things of that nature. And but it's like getting any traction in Murray can be odd. And he's like, maybe you could get a billboard. And I looked at the pricing, and it just wasn't there. And so thought about, well, and we still may do this, wrapping my vehicle. And then one of our clients is a transit service, and we went and made a delivery of some uniforms, and they're showing me the fleet, and they're like, do you wrap vehicles? And it's like, we kind of dance with who brought us. We're not into that realm yet, but what do you got? And so we're talking. It's like, we just got 30 new buses. And I was like, really? What do y'all do with these other buses? It's like, oh, we give them to employees, we sell them or whatever. And I'm like, get out of here. And it's like, I think there's 100 people that work for the company. And this is something that it was supposed to already come to fruition, but I guess with the state releasing licenses, it's a government deal that we print stuff for, but do their uniforms. But I guess once the title gets released from the state, we can get a really, really good deal on a transit bus. And so the goal is to wrap that, and that's going to be essentially the billboard, right? That cost a lot less than the billboard, believe it or not, even after wrapping it. And that's how we're going to make deliveries. And then my niece is really into soccer. She's a very good soccer player. And my sister-in-law was saying, Keaton just spent $75 on this tournament shirt. Look at this. And it's a Sportex shirt. It's DTF on the front, and they charged $40 for the shirt. And then it's like, hey, if they want the champion, crown here, $10 and name a number on the back. Long story short, paid $75 for this $8 shirt. And I'm like, whoa, hang
Yep.
on a minute. And so that I think that's going to be a little extra thing that we do maybe during the summertime. I'm sure you probably saw David walk in here. He's probably going to spearhead that.
Cool.
And so just doing the custom stuff, just like a food truck. People are doing it out of the enclosed trailers, but I was like, hey, what would be so neat is just you got the dual shuttle heat press, you got everything set up right there, and then we've also, I don't know how this will work, and I need to get with you again about the sublimation stuff, but we've been doing a lot for a motocross track. And so we, like I said, but again, who knows? I'm good at doing something 90% of the way, and it's all these shower ideas that I have.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
there's only so much time in the day. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
one other thing, I ultimately backed out against it, but Bowling Green, Kentucky isn't too far away. Someone had a Cornette, an older Cornette printer for sale, and I was like, "Whoa!" It was almost giving it away, and I was like, "Man, can you imagine having a Cornette in the back of this transit bus, and you're just rolling up, and it's just slinging shirts out the back of this bus?" But yeah, that's not going to happen. Too many variables with humidity and all that. But
One of my brothers went to Western Kentucky, right there in Bowling Green, many years ago.
yeah, shout out Hilltoppers.
There you go, Hilltoppers, exactly right. Hey,
That's
we're coming to the end of our time. Where can our listeners connect with you, learn more about your company?
Yeah, so I have a couple different domains. A lot of people struggle spelling Gladiator or graphics, but you can find me at the Gladiator Graphics. We also have a couple other domains like KentuckyScreenPrinting.com or KYScreenPrinting.com. So you can
Cool.
find me there. Anyone listening, hey, I'd love to work with you. We're just a scaling shop, so I haven't made it big time yet, but we love to take care of you.
I love it.
Awesome.
Love it. Anthony, we got so many other things we can talk about. So
I know.
let's make this a regular.
I appreciate you having me on. I'd love it if you'd have me back sometime. Just I
Yep.
like riffing, and I got to check out the stuff that you're doing, Aaron. You can probably help me scale the business even further. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like you said, let's just collaborate. Let's see what's going to happen. But I mean, just as we were talking, I'm like, oh my God, we could have a whole show about that. We could
Yeah.
have a whole show about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll have you back
definitely
very
have you
soon
back.
here. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
That was really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I had
really,
about
really
1,000
good.
more questions, but the clock kept ticking.
Yep, clock ticking. And again, like I was saying, man, we could talk about that for a whole show. We could talk about that for a whole show. So hopefully you guys heard what Terry and I heard in that, and just all the different golden nuggets and again, inspiration, okay, how can I do that for my area? How can, I mean, he's got all those ideas. Let's take and use some of those for our businesses too. So, and I know he's got some other things in the works too, that he and I were talking about, from podcast, this whole mobile thing, all that stuff. So,
Right.
Stay tuned. Lots more good stuff coming from Anthony here. So
Exactly right. All right.
Well, what do you got coming up here, Terry? You mentioned that you still got your classes happening. So what's coming up for you?
Yeah. So come to my class, and you can be on the show like Anthony in a couple of years. My complete screen printing business course, the same class that Anthony attended in Nashville, will be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply, September 6th and 7th. I've got a lot more coming late summer and fall to talk to you guys about, but you can find everything about what's going on with me at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Absolutely. Now, before I share mine, I do think you should go to your website and immediately update your tagline and just say it's a no-brainer. Right? And we can even get the quote there. So love it. Well, again,
that is print profit.
Yeah, well, that too, but that's in the works. All right. Well, as you guys heard from the little promotion we did in the middle there, business planning is definitely something that I'm really focused in on right now. So, I kind of have a rhetorical question for you, but who actually has a business plan, one that they actually use? And here's the truth: most small businesses don't, and even the ones that do probably aren't actively using it. But the research does show that having a business plan is one of the biggest predictors of long-term success. And therefore, I created a 2-part masterclass and an optional implementation workshop to help people kind of figure it out. A lot of people tell me, I don't even know how. Okay, cool. Well, we got this. You know how to write, right? You know how to think about your business. Perfect. You know how. But we'll get into that. And the masterclass is happening August 5th and 6th. And then you have that upgraded opportunity for the workshop. And anyhow, if you are somebody that's looking to check that out, go to oursuccessgroup.com/business plan and check it out. Even if you can't make the live version on August 5th and 6th, they are recorded, so you'll have access to them for 90 days. So just get over there and sign up. Next for me, coming up August 1st, which is a lot faster than I expected. I can't believe that we're already to July 18th if you're listening live. August 1st, Dax, Minneapolis. They've actually moved back into the Twin Cities. And so excited to check that out. I'm going to be teaching 2 classes there. And the first class is on the 1st at 2 p.m. I'm going to be teaching Fast Track Your Success, half the time to achieve your goals. And then on August 2nd at 12:30 p.m., I'm going to be teaching how to master pricing for profit. So if you go to daxshow.com, and then you can register there, register for the show, as well as register for those classes. And then kind of, again, we talked about with Cassie being here, Printing United Expo is around the corner. It's happening October 22nd and 24th in Orlando, Florida. So I just want you to go ahead and put that on your calendar. It's going to be an amazing show. And if you want to get free registration, you can use the code 141404. 141404. Just head over to printingunited.com/attend and hit that register button and use that code, and you can get registered and come see all of us. I'm speaking a little bit for Eric, but we're going to try to drag him out there. I don't know if we're going to make that possible, but Terry and I will be there. And
hopefully they'll have the glass fishbowl again, so we could be broadcasting from the fishbowl. But one way or another, we'll be on the air from there.
Absolutely. All right. And then for Eric, this afternoon, back to the take up, I love it, is episode 228 and digitizers, drawing tools, and developing techniques. So in this episode, Eric's going to discuss a couple of the current debates over the physical input tools we use to digitize and how digital artists coming to the embroidery world are sometimes duped by their otherwise useful art experience. I love that. They're going to talk about tablets and iPad apps, as well as vector structure and false equivalencies in the digitizing files. So check that out at 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern Time, and be part of the conversation. You get to share techniques live. Eric's going to show you his, and it's always a fantastic, like, people are religious about getting to the take up. And so I'm so excited to have that back. EricCampbell.com is where you can find more information. Click the take up tab at the top to find the show and to see more episodes. So,
just like Promo Hunt, it's free.
It's free. Absolutely. Yeah. Eric's Eric, how are you going to monetize? No, sorry. Question mark. Okay.
All right.
He does it for the love of the game, Terry.
Exactly right. It's just like us. So,
yep, absolutely.
But hey, we have the secret sauce, and we're still kind of within time.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to not be over long-winded. So let's see how it goes here. So let's do the secret sauce. Hey there, rock stars. All right. Today's secret sauce is what I believe to be a bit of a game changer for our sales process. When was the last time you stared at a restaurant menu with 13 pages and felt overwhelmed? All right. Oh man, that sounds good. I don't know, man. I just want to get something to eat. That same feeling is happening to your customers if you are slapping a catalog down in front of them, and a lot of times we do that, and then we gleefully say, "We can get all these. You got this." And it's called the paradox of choice. When people have too many options, they freeze. And the honest truth is, confused minds don't buy. An overwhelmed customer will walk away or ghost you completely. And they may even say to you, "Oh, all those choices are great." and then they turn around and walk away. They head up the street because they came to you for your expert advice from an expert decorator. Simplify your offer. Don't just throw a whole catalog at them. Yes, at some point during the conversation, you can say, hey, we can even get even more, but let me curate this for you. Be the expert by first asking them some questions to really, truly understand their needs. Then give your customer 2 to 3 thoughtful packaged options that will align with their needs and their style and their goals. Now, if you're somebody that's an apparel decorator, instead of them showing them the 50 shirt styles, offer them a good, a better, and a best. The good, most popular, better, high quality or kind of fashion fit, the best kind of premium with standout features. And as a little bonus tip, right, I fell into that trap of like good, better, and best. I love that, right? But let's take it one step further. Name your tiers based on the outcomes they're going to receive, not the features, not the good, better, best. So maybe your 3 levels are everyday reliable. That's your standard t-shirt. Or you want the stylish and branded option. That's more of your fashion fit, the higher quality stuff. Or VIP event ready, right out the door, premium standout product. So I just want to encourage you guys today to look at one of your products or services you offer and create 3 name package options that make buying feel simple, aligned, and ready for the result the package is named after. Your customers are going to feel more confident. You're going to close more sales. And that's your secret sauce for today. All right.
I love it. Aaron, you might recall Matt Vassallo at Rhinestone World was a master of this.
Yes, he was. He definitely and is. He's just found it. We don't see him as much anymore because he's found his niche in the craft world and doesn't. Yeah, but really good stuff there. Thank you, Terry, for that reminder. I totally forgot about Matt. All right. Well, Terry, we've come to the close of another show. We want to thank Anthony for his time today. What a great amount of information, inspiration, and just golden nuggets along the way. So as we talked, we're going to definitely have Anthony back. So appreciate his time today.
Warms my heart when I see people that came to my class who are successful out there and run into more and more of them. So do
you feel like a father, kind of like, there's my kid. They're out there.
I like the print prophet.
The print prophet. All right. We're definitely going to make that a thing. All right.
All right. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for everything he does to keep us on track and running every week.
Absolutely. All right, Terry. Well, next week we're going to do a little bit of a host show here. And I know I'm talking about business plans a lot, but it's really important. I've seen way too many people in this feeling of overwhelm and struggle and have tos and ready to give up on their business. I can't tell you how many people I run across that are basically shutting it down. And if that's right, that's right. But let's build your vision first and then see if you can pull it off, as opposed to just throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. So we're going to talk about the process of planning and creating that vision and how to have a foundation. So as you can tell, I'm already very excited about talking about that. And we're going to do that next week.
I love it. I love doing host shows with you. And but until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.